mobility is key for all. Yes, indeed. ISTAT, the Italian Statistics Office, works in this area like it does in many others. And we have been carrying out surveys in municipalities, which are the main municipalities of our provinces. Of course, not all the cities of the country. Um, One characteristic of our country is that urbanization is very varied. We have different population density levels in different parts of the country, and very, very different situations to contend with. So much so that we have suggested certain changes to the national administrative geography. We would prefer to go up to the level of the metropolitan cities rather than the capital cities of provinces or the major cities of provinces, because nowadays there are so many conurbations, there are so many urban agglomerates that it's really no longer possible to speak in terms of individual municipalities. And clearly, transport is a strategic issue in this context. First of all, to ensure a minimum level of standard of living, a quality of life for the inhabitants of the area, for people who need to go to work, to school, to universities, for leisure activities, or any other activities for that matter. Now, what the figures tell us is that northern cities invest more in mobility, but they're also the cities where potential demand is higher, and very often that demand is not met. So local public transport is leading to more investment. That's the trend. This extra investment does not cover demand. In the south of the country, particularly over recent years, because of the rather negative economic situation, both parameters are in stagnation. Both supply and demand are either stable or on the decrease. And this is obviously not a positive factor because, as I was saying, mobility in urban centers is crucial to, for instance, the quality of the air we breathe. There are certain geographical areas in our city centers where we have to try to reduce particles and emissions, which are often due to vehicles, motor cars and the like. And these centers haven't always reached the dreadful levels which we had to contend with in cities in northern Italy this winter. We carried out another survey, the survey which assesses the behavior of citizens and their reaction to services provided, including public transport. Now, in the south, the situation is very poor indeed. The number of people who are expressing not entirely negative views is still very low. Most people are totally negative about the services made available to them in terms of public transport. So a lot remains to be done. Having said that, this is not a situation which can be described for each and every urban context, because there are small, medium, large, and even small municipalities who have invested in this sector. For instance, Bari, the metropolitan city of Bari, has done a lot of good work on mobility. Naples have done a lot too to increase public transport. So by and large, I think that we can say that cities are moving in the right direction, but as some speakers mentioned earlier on, progress is appreciable, it is visible, but a lot remains to be done. Mobility is one of the areas where there is room for improvement. Now, you were referring to the fact that we need to sort our waste. Now, the small and medium-sized urban centres are nearly in keeping with Europa 2020 criteria, where we've come up close to 65, if not indeed 70% of sorted waste. And in some cities in the north, we've exceeded the level of 80%. In large urban centres, this requires a more complicated type of management because the strategies which have proven successful to manage our waste, in other words, direct interaction with the producing companies, some sort of door-to-door system, a system whereby there's a link between the waste produced and what is done to that waste, maybe possibly granting some sort of tax deduction or whatever. This is a policy which is difficult to implement when you have large numbers of large communities to deal with. But I think that we are achieving results, and these can be seen in the figures.